What is going on, everyone? Welcome on into another Mets post-game show here on Mets Central. I cannot talk. It is late at night here. It is now almost 1:30 in the morning, about to be 1:30 in the morning as I'm doing this live stream. So I'm not expecting a lot of people, especially on a Monday night. But the New York Mets beat the Los Angeles Dodgers 4-3 in extra innings in a thriller. If you are a baseball fan, in terms of just the fact that it was just a thriller, watching two of the top end teams in the National League go into extra innings. For me, it was a heart attack watching Shohei Otani hit a home run, watching Tommy Edman step up to the plate in a situation where it looked like maybe he could walk it off, but he ends up getting denied by Jose Buda as his pitching staff in general holds down the fort yet again. We got a lot to talk about, so leave a like on your way into the post-game show here. Subscribe if you guys are new to the channel, especially for Met fans, and turn on your post notifications so you know when we upload or go live here on Met Central. As like I said, there's a lot to unpack here as we do a dive here in game 60 of the regular season. And yeah, definitely an interesting game, to say the least, because we got a pleasant surprise in Paul Blackburn going 5 scoreless. Because to be completely honest with you, going into this game, going into this series, if you listen to the podcast episode, I had no confidence going into this game with Paul Blackburn on the mound. I thought it was going to just be a nightmare, and I thought that they had no chance because one, it has been a while since he's pitched, and I just expected a little bit of rust. And two, if you guys have watched the channel long enough, you know that I'm not a big Paul Blackburn guy. And the last time we saw him on the mound as well, it was not the best. It really was not the best. But I got to give major credit to him, which we'll talk about more in terms of how he mixes pitches and everything and how he looks sharp in his outing against the Dodgers. But yeah, we got a lot to get into here. So in the top of the first inning, Francisco Lindor kind of booked the Mets win, though, on the second pitch of the game as he ended up hitting a home run towards right field. And the Mets have won now, what did they say, 26 straight games, including the playoffs, that is. And then I think it's like 23 or something, or 24, excluding the playoffs. Either way, every time Lindor hits a home run in a game, it feels like the Mets just win the baseball game. And on the second pitch, he ends up hitting a solo shot, another leadoff home run, tying Shohei Otani on the year in terms of leadoff home runs. And yeah, that's 14th of the season. So Francisco Lindor gets the Mets on the board early. And I thought they were going to do damage early too, because then Brandon Nimmo gets on with a 4-pitch walk. I'm like, okay. Juan Soto gets in the count 2-0. I'm like, okay. And then for whatever reason, he decides to swing at that pitch, that sinker, which granted, it was in a location that I don't blame him for swinging at. But when a pitcher throws 6 straight balls, you got to lay off that pitch, especially considering there wasn't a mound visit between those pitches. You got to lay off that pitch, in my opinion. But then Pete Alonso comes up, lines out to end the inning. In the bottom of the first inning, Otani strikes out. Teoscar Hernandez flies out. Freddie Freeman with a single. Pages grounds out to end the inning. The top of the second inning, 1-2-3 inning for Dustin May. In the bottom of the second inning, Max Muncy walks. Michael Conforto hits it to a double play, and then Edman grounds out to end the inning. In the top of the third, the Mets go down in order yet again, and Francisco Alvarez just not giving clean at bats at all, which, we'll talk more about him, even though he did have a big hit later on, which kind of had us apologize a little bit here throughout this game, because, I mean, you had Gary Cohen even saying maybe he should be sent down. It's never good when the play-by-play guys saying maybe you got to get sent down. But either way, where was I? I think the bottom of the third inning, right? Yeah, the bottom of the third. 1-2-3 inning for Paul Blackburn, getting a pair of strikeouts as well in that inning, including Shohei Otani striking out yet again, getting him swinging on that curveball outside of the zone. Dare I say it was beautiful to watch? I never thought I'd say that with a Paul Blackburn pitch. I'm not going to lie to you. But in the top of the fourth inning, again, the Mets had a chance to do some damage. Brandon Nimmo strikes out. Juan Soto gets a double. Alonso gets hit by a pitch. But Jared Young ends up hitting into a force out. Brett Beatty strikes out. I'm so tired of Jared Young already. I will say that for free. Bottom of the fourth inning, Teoscar Hernandez had a leadoff single, but the rest of the order gets put away by Paul Blackburn. Even though I was a little bit worried on, I think it was the Max Muncy one, which went out to center field. I was a little bit worried there that that one might end up going far, but thankfully that does not end up being the case. In the top of the fifth inning, the Mets thankfully finally expand on their lead a little bit. Not a lot of damage done, but at least they chip away and get on the board as McNeil and Alvarez get back-to-back singles with one out. Lindor flies out, and then Brandon Nimmo with a double to make it 2-0. Please keep him in the two-hole. The guy keeps producing. Another day in the two-hole, another RBI for Brandon Nimmo in the two-hole. And then Juan Soto gets intentionally walked. Pete Alonso flies out. We go to the bottom of the fifth inning where Michael Conforto flies out. Tommy Edman gets on because of an error there from Pete Alonso. Dalton Rushing flies out to center field. Kim gets a single, and then Otani grounds out. So Paul Blackburn, good work there from him. He ends up leaving after that, after all that, but he ends up leaving. 77 pitches. I was a little surprised that they cut him short, especially because he was dealing. To me, I would have gave him another inning personally, just give him a batter or two, see what he could do. This was the best Paul Blackburn has looked in the Mets uniform, and it was his first start back, which hopefully is encouraging, and especially against the Dodgers. But then again, I don't want to say that with confidence because we saw David Peterson ball out against the Dodgers, and then against the Rockies, he didn't look as sharp. So I don't know how to feel about that, but all I know is that he looked good. I mean, the way that he was utilizing his changeup and his curveball, he didn't use both those pitches a lot, but I felt like when he was using them, he was the most effective. And I would have liked to have seen him maybe up the usage, but he did a good job balancing his pitches out throughout the outing, primarily using his cutter, got 2 whiffs on that, 14 swings. On the changeup, he had 1 whiff, 9 swings. And then the curveball, though, I thought the curveball was his best pitch, getting 3 whiffs on 5 swings. So encouraging stuff there. And then he did throw a couple sinkers in there, a couple sliders in there. So overall, just a good, well-rounded start by Paul Blackburn. And given this team what they need, honestly, which was just 5 scores, which I would have signed up for any day if you told me that's what Paul Blackburn was going to give in his first start back. Top of the 6th inning, Jared Young strikes out, Brett Beatty singles, Taylor lines out, McNeil flies out. We go to the bottom of the 6th inning where Brazoban starting to look a little more human, which definitely is worrying me. He didn't allow a run, but he definitely did not look the sharpest. I mean, he strikes out Teoscar Hernandez with the filthy changeup, then allows a single, though, a hard hit ball from Freddie Freeman, which I'm not mad at him for the pitch location on that. I mean, that's a changeup low on the lower part of the plate. Like, to me, that one I'm not going to get mad at him for. Where I'm going to get mad after Pages flies out, walking Muncy and Conforto, no bueno, especially Michael Conforto, who has not had a good year thus far, and to throw him 3 straight balls as well in that count. Pause. You can't do that. You can't do that. And then Tommy Edman, though, strikes out once again, just using that filthy changeup on the outer part of the plate. Good work from him. In the 7th inning, Dreyer comes in for Dustin May, gets a 1-2-3 inning. And then Kranic comes into the game. Rushing strikes out. Tyrone Taylor makes a great grab out in center field on a hard hit ball. And thankfully, he did make that grab because Shohei Otani, it was inevitable. He was going to do it. But my goodness, Max Kranic could not locate his pitches at all. His first time pitching in 8 days. And Shohei Otani ends up getting a home run to make it 2-1. It's really infuriating that Kranic is starting to not look as sharp. And it's really a location thing, honestly. Like, it's not anything to do with his stuff. It is purely location based because he's leaving just way too much over the plate right now. And I get it that he wants to attack hitters. And I like a pitcher that comes out of the pen and attacks hitters. But there are situations where it's like, I get Shohei Otani. I don't know. But I also understand because then you put the tying run, you bring the tying run to the plate in that spot. So I get it from that perspective. But to miss this badly with his locations, just not good. I mean, that's a curveball that is right in Otani's wheelhouse. But he strikes out Teoscar Hernandez to end that inning. And then we go to the top of the eighth. The Mets go down in order in the bottom of the eighth inning. Stanek comes in. He allowed a single to Pages. A lot of hard contact against him. Max Muncy gets a decently hit fly out. Conforto ends up going out there, but the Pages single, I mean, that was a really hard hit ball there. But thankfully, Stanek ends up getting through that inning there. Top of the ninth, Trevino comes in for the Dodgers. 1-2-3 inning. In the bottom of the ninth inning, Edwin Diaz comes in. And unfortunately, the Mets did not get the Edwin Diaz that they needed, did not get the Edwin Diaz that they've got as of lately, as he allows a single to Tommy Edman, who steals a bag, strikes out rushing, which he thought maybe he was going to rebound from there. But then when Kim got that single, I'm like, at the very least, the Dodgers are tying it, because at least when Edman was on second, it was like, okay, just get Kim out. You could walk Otani, and then I feel good about Diaz facing Teoscar, who he ultimately struck out. But before that, Otani ends up getting a sac fly, which no surprise there. You knew he was going to do damage, which tied the game up at 2. I mean, this was really just the Otani show for the Dodgers in this game. Then we go to the 8th inning, and I don't know what the 8th inning, the 10th inning, rather. I don't know what it is anymore. It's something that you can't even explain. This team just flat out owns Tanner Scott. They just flat out own this guy. And I love it. I mean, I don't know how. I don't know why, but I'm here for it. Francisco Alvarez gets his first RBI since May 4th, almost a month later now, a month as of tomorrow, technically, but also after we sleep. Not that, but June 4th. I think you guys know what a month is. Either way, I'm breaking that down like you guys are idiots. But either way, yeah, Francisco Alvarez finally getting an RBI single, which made it 3-2. Marte comes in the pinch run for him, and then Francisco Lindor ends up getting a single, which made it 4-2. They don't do any further damage. Alonso had a walk, but Mark Vientos on the ground out, which this was the unfortunate part. He ends up getting hurt, it looked like, on that, because there was a ball hit towards the gap a little bit, and I'm like, where the hell is Vientos? And it looks like he ended up getting hurt going out of the box there, which is very unfortunate considering the fact that I know Vientos hasn't been as good lately, and I know that we've kind of been on him about that. But you know, you don't want to see him get hurt there. And all I know is that, sorry, I'm just seeing things on Twitter which just distracted me, which they're saying Mauricio could be called up if Vientos misses time. I think he's going to miss time. To me, it looked like a clear hamstring injury, which is not good, which screams to me at least like a month or so. And that's until rehab at least. So we'll see. But that could be the spot for Mauricio. And then we also got a report that Paul Blackburn could move to the bullpen after, or will likely move to the bullpen after the start. That makes sense. I always viewed him as a guy that would be in the bullpen and make some spot starts when they need that sixth starter. So I'm completely okay with that, and I'm completely happy with that one. But I digress. Either way, we go to the bottom of the 10th inning where Jose Castillo has his worst outing as a Met. Walks Freddie Freeman, allows a single to Pages, which made it 4-3. Strikes out Muncy, which Dave Roberts kind of falling asleep at the wheel there. I don't know how you do not have a righty pitch hit for Muncy there. Either Will Smith or going with Mookie Betts there, even though he's playing on the fractured toe. Why not go with one of those guys there? I'm not complaining. I'm thanking Dave Roberts there. But either way, then he goes to the righty after Max Muncy when the Mets were able to go to the bullpen, and they go to Jose Butto, who gets 2 outs. The Tommy Edman ball, I thought for sure was about to go up the middle. Thankfully, it didn't. The Mets end up holding on to win this game here late at night. 3 for 9 with runners in scoring position is not ideal, But again, it's kind of been what it's been all season long. Lindor, though, I mean, he had a good day at the plate. Brandon Nimmo still looking comfortable in that 2-hole. Juan Soto getting going a little bit. He got another hit today, which was good to see. But yeah, just you definitely want more, but encouraging still nonetheless to beat up on the Dodgers, of course, even if they are injury riddled right now. But yeah, seeing if I'm missing anything else on Twitter right now. So it looks like though, yeah, looks like that's all there is because Mauricio will probably be called up. Yeah, Vientos is gonna go under some testing on that hamstring. The thing is though, now that's clicking with me, the Mets would the Mets have had to use a pitcher if it went further in the game and Vientos' spot came up again because I think they used yeah, because they had to use their entire bench at that point because you have Marte pinch run, so that meant Torrens had to come in the catch. It's either that, I mean, that or you lose the DH. Same thing there. Yeah, they would have had to have a pitcher hit at that point. That would have been nuts. That would have been absolutely insane there, but would have got to that point. So thankfully it didn't though. Thankfully we didn't get there. I was not ready for another 13 inning game. I was scared it was gonna get to that, but thankfully we didn't have to deal with that. Yeah, I mean Tanner Scott, looking at his numbers just in general, it's not just a Mets thing, but I mean the Mets do kind of own him, but underdog MLB tweeting it in his last 7 appearances, 12 runs, 13 hits, 2 home runs, 3 blown saves. Yikes. That is brutal. The only thing I'll also add, because of the Castillo thing, man, do I miss I miss AJ Minter. At least good news though, because there was a report that dropped during the game, which was weird, or I at least saw it during the game. I don't know if it dropped then, but I think it was from Mike Puma that Brooks Raley is going through his rehab process. He's going to start facing live hitters and could begin his rehab assignment as soon as the middle or the end of June, which that would be huge for this team because they desperately need a Brooks Raley type in the back end of that bullpen, which I don't know how effective he'll be coming off Tommy John at this age. But at the same time, he is a guy that never relied on velocity to get out, so at least that makes you feel a bit better about it. So we'll see what happens there. Sean Manaea also looks like he's going to start a rehab assignment soon. Montas already started it, not going well for him, but he did start it. So reinforcements on the way here. They got reinforcements on the way, at least. Yeah, that Montas starting high A was just not ideal. Not ideal at all. So, yeah, let me see what some of you guys are saying in the chat. Leave a like if you haven't already. Subscribe, turn on your notifications, all that stuff. Let me see what you guys are saying, though, in the chat, like I said. And then I will wrap up the post game here. Not going to keep this too long winded just because it's late at night here. I don't know how many people are even. I'm surprised there's 200 of you watching this live. That is absolutely insane. You guys are awesome for that. Almost 2 in the morning watching some Mets content. I appreciate you guys. You guys are the best. And yeah, I mean, more people will probably watch this on replay though, either way. So let's see what some of you guys are saying. Brian Jose Budo showing Otani how a real pitcher bats. Facts. And then Paul Blackburn too. I mean, he made Otani look silly a lot up there. How about that? And yeah, Mookie being available and them not going to him was very weird. Very weird. I'm not complaining. Very weird though. And this is true that Roberts does overmanage a lot. He is really, I don't know what it is with them. It's like sometimes maybe he feels like he's got too much talent there. Maybe he feels like he's got too much talent. I don't know. 1 p.m. in Thailand. Well, there you go. That makes sense. Watch it from Thailand. Yeah, Ray saying the same thing that I did. That Minter not being here is definitely a huge blow for this team. Miss Big Boom AJ. Yeah, the Vientos injury doesn't look good at all. He's gonna miss time. He's gonna miss time for sure. It was interesting because he was able to get off the field at his own will, but it's not looking good. I think he's gonna miss a month or so. 27 straight, 29 including the playoffs. Thank you guys. Pitching lab strikes again. We'll see with Blackburn. To me, the jury's still out. I gotta see more because I do have some trauma from what I saw with him last year. The Mets could be at 45 wins if they were good with runners in score position. That's what I've been saying. If they were half good, and I think they showed the Dodgers numbers with runners in scoring position. It's like if the Mets had the Dodgers numbers with runners in scoring position, I kid you not, they would have 9 losses at most on the year. Like, no joke, I think 9 losses. Let me see what the numbers were again on that one with the Dodgers, who didn't hit well today with runners in scoring position. But I think that's also just because this pitching staff is unbelievable right now. It's absolutely unbelievable. So let's see, scoring position, 29 home runs. Yeah, here you go. 317 batting average, 965 OPS. Yeah, just okay numbers. Almost a 400 on base percentage, 572 slugging. Yeah, give the Mets those numbers with runners in scoring position, and they have at most 9 to 10 losses. That's absurd. But hey, we graduated the basement because the Rockies are now behind the Mets in batting average with runners in scoring position. So we graduated the NL basement at least. We still have uh we still have 16 more batting average points to go to catch the Pirates, but at least we're getting there, right? At least we're working our way up in some regard. But anyway, I'm going to wrap things up here. Thank you everyone for tuning in and watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you guys are new to the channel. Turn on your notifications so you know I upload or go live. And I'll see you guys in the next one.